Hi, my name is Jimmy Diaz. I'm a professional windsurfer. I've been windsurfing for over 25 years, and I've been developing sails for the last about 14-15 years with various different companies like Neil Pride and North Sails. Today I'm here to talk about windsurfing sails, a little bit how they work and how to get the most out of them. Okay, windsurfing is an incredibly dynamic and diverse sport. We windsurf in waves, in flat water, in harbors, in open ocean. So because of this, we require a lot of different types of equipment. For the windsurfing sails, we have wave sails, freestyle sails, free ride sails, slalom sails, formula sails. So they're quite different in design, but they all work fundamentally the same, and the trim to trim them is fundamentally the same. So that's one of the things I'm going to be talking about in this video. With regards to the different variety of sails involved in windsurfing, we can go from a beginner sail, let's say, which can be made out of basic materials like Dacron, with just one or two battens, very simple, very light. Then you can progress into something like a wave sail, let's say, which normally has between 4 and 5 battens. The shaping is quite flat. The construction is a lot more solid. We use stronger battens, rods we call them normally. And then we can progress into something like a free ride sail, which is a little bit more performance oriented in terms of speed. You want something that can go quite fast, is quite light in your hands, has very good overall performance, and these become a little bit more complex in terms of their design characteristics. Some of them have camber inducers, which is basically to induce a certain amount of depth into the sail. It helps out the performance, but it limits a little bit the maneuverability that you would have in something like a wave sail or a freestyle sail, which don't have camber inducers. They also have different types of battens normally, incorporating tubes, a combination of rods and tubes to make the sail a little bit more stable and lighter in the hands. And I think on the other side of the spectrum is the full-on race sails, which are made with the lightest materials. The design is normally a little bit more sophisticated than all the other sails. They incorporate wider sleeves, the shaping, the luff curve, the depth distribution is a bit more complex. And the battens also, normally they're made 2 or 3 piece battens with a combination of a rod, a small tube, a bigger tube, perhaps carbon tubes. So this is the spectrum of the windsurfing sails, and I think in all of sailing they're perhaps the most dynamic sails out there. It's not something. It's not like an airplane wing, which is a rigid foil, and it's not like a sailboat sail, which is fixed to the actual hull of the boat. You know, we're dealing with a lot of different elements. The sail can articulate in relation to the board. It's the mast is bending quite a lot. The depth is changing as the mast bends. So we're actually asking quite a lot out of a windsurfing sail, and it's actually quite a complex system. Especially for such a fun sport. So, but I think that's part of what makes windsurfing interesting. It's incredibly diverse, and that's what you know. We'll try to figure out how to best trim the sails for your best enjoyment. All right, so the windsurfing sail is a very dynamic system that's constantly changing, breathing, and that's why it's important that you make sure you rig the sail properly. The sails are designed with all this movement in mind. So they have to have the proper downhaul, the proper outhaul, the proper batten tension. On the race sails, they have to have the proper camber pressure. So, you know, as an example, when you're sailing along, the sail is actually, you know, it's getting deeper as the mast is bending in the bottom, it's getting flatter in the top, the leech is opening up, it's closing. So this is part of the dynamics of the sail, and the whole design of it is takes all of this into account. And it's important to have the right amount of downhaul, for example, to make sure that the leech opens up, to make sure you have the right depth distribution in the bottom, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Before rigging the sail, there's three basic things you need to consider. One of them is the downhaul, the other one is the outhaul, and the third is the batten tension. On racing sails, then you also have to consider cam pressure. Perhaps out of all of these, the most critical one is the downhaul setting. What you want to do when you take the sail out of the bag is you look at the manufacturer's recommendations for the settings, and normally they put the luff length and the boom length. This is always a very good starting point. You know, you set your extension to the length and you set your boom to the length as they recommend. And then basically what you want to do is start applying the downhaul tension to what they recommend, and then we'll look at the sail and see if that's looking good or something else needs to be done. So the most common mistake I see when people are setting up their sails is insufficient downhaul. Normally the people that don't understand how the sail is supposed to work, they set it up so that it looks very good on the beach. So in other words, there's very few wrinkles on it, the leech isn't open, and this is a huge mistake, because no matter how good the design of the sail is, if you don't put enough downhaul on it, it's simply not going to work the way it's supposed to work. So basically, when you put downhaul on, you want to make sure that the leech is opening up sufficiently. What happens is the wind at the top of the sail is a little bit stronger than the wind at the bottom of the sail, and therefore the apparent wind at that section of the sail is at a different angle. And that's the basic principle why we need twist in the sails. So if a sail is under downhaul, it's just simply not going to work, because the top of the sail is stalling compared to the bottom of the sail. What you're going to feel is you're going to feel the sail to be heavy. It's not going to accelerate. You know, it's going to be generating a lot of power in your arms, but it's not translating to the power on the water, you know, that the board is seeing and feeling. And you're just going to get, your forearms are going to get really tired, and you're not going to go any faster, and you're going to be struggling with the sail a lot more. So now that you have the downhaul set properly, then the next tuning characteristic is the outhaul tension. All sails have a certain amount of tunability to them. So there's not one outhaul setting that's going to work. There's not one downhaul setting that's going to work for everybody, for all the conditions, for flat water, strong winds, light winds, etc. So this is one of the hugely important aspects to understand about the sail, is that they can be tuned specifically for the conditions you're sailing in. This is especially true with the outhaul, where, for example, on a race sail, they have a huge range. You know, you can change the outhaul by as much as 10 centimeters, you know, depending if you're sailing in light wind, depending on the angle that you're sailing to the wind. So this is something very important to keep in mind. One of the things with respect to the downhaul and the outhaul that you'll notice is, if you have a race sail, for example, that's tuned with too little downhaul, what's going to happen is you're going to try to overcompensate for it with a lot of outhaul. This is not the optimal way to rig the sail. So normally you want to have, for a race sail or a free ride sail, most of the sails are designed where they don't take a lot of outhaul tension. So this is something you need to go out on the water a little bit. You set it to the specifications that the manufacturer states on the sail, and then from there you can tension it or release it, you know, accordingly to the wind strength that you're sailing in. So again, there's not one specific setting, but it's something that takes experimentation and something that you just need to try out on the water and see for yourself what's feeling good, what's not feeling good, and what's optimizing the performance of the sail. In general, if the sail is too powerful, then you want to put on a little bit extra outhaul, and if you're not generating enough power, then you want to release the outhaul a little bit. For a free ride sail and a race sail, to optimize the range of the sail, then an adjustable outhaul system is highly recommended. This allows you to tune the sail exactly to the conditions you're sailing in without having to come back to the beach and change the settings. So this is a super easy way to do it, and I highly recommend it. And sometimes even for wave sails, sometimes we develop the sails like this even in the waves, just because we can change the settings on the fly. So it really increases the range of your sail, and you could be on a 6 meter, for example, and the wind drops, and if you have an adjustable outhaul system, you just release some outhaul and you instantly get more power out of the sail. So again, this is something to keep trying out on the water, and you can feel when the right setting comes along. Basically, if you don't have enough power, you release a little bit of outhaul, and if you have too much power, you increase the outhaul. You know you have too much outhaul when you're oversheeting the sail too easily. In other words, you lean back, you have your weight on your harness, you're trying to go as fast as possible, and your backhand is constantly oversheeting the sail. This means that you either have too much downhaul or too much outhaul, or both. You want the sail to be generating constant power and not having power that comes on and off as the gusts come in. So if you're feeling this, that you're oversheeting the sail too much, pulling in too much with your backhand, then it means you can probably release a little bit of outhaul, or maybe even a little bit of downhaul. And you have too little outhaul normally when your backhand is generating too much pressure. So you get hit by a gust, and your backhand just keeps getting heavier and heavier, and basically what's happening is the draft is moving further back on the sail, and it's coming up and it's loading up your backhand. So this is a clear indication that you have too little outhaul, and at that point you just want to pull in the outhaul a little bit, and this will stabilize the draft, bring it back forward, and not allow it to move around, to move back and up so much. The third tuning characteristic that's very important on a sail is the actual batten tension. It's very important to have the appropriate amount of batten tension on the sail that takes into account the amount of shaping that's put into the sail. So basically, the batten tension is allowing that shape to fill in. What you don't want to do is under tension the battens, which won't allow the shape to fill in, or over tension the battens, which will distort the shape that was designed into the sail. As a basic rule, you want your bottom battens to have more tension than the top battens. What you want to do is rig the sail and take out the wrinkles. You want to make sure the wrinkles are out of the bottom of the sail. So let's say on a race sail, let's say you have 7 battens on a race sail, you want the bottom 3 battens to have maximum amount of tension, the 4th batten up to have a little bit less tension, but still good positive tension. And then the top 3 battens, you want to reduce the amount of tension there. You want to make sure you don't over tension there and affect the leech opening up. So you don't want to affect adversely the opening of the leech to allow the sail to flatten at the top. A lot of people make the mistake of trying to take out a wrinkle up there, and basically this is generating a hook on the leech of the sail, which will distort the performance quite a bit. It won't allow the sail to open up, and you'll start feeling the sail heavy in the top of the sail, and suddenly it won't accelerate the way it's meant to accelerate. So for free ride sails or free race sails or full-on race sails, the 4th element in tuning a sail is the cam pressure. This is quite important for these high-performance sails, because the pressure has to be just right in order to induce the right amount of camber or depth, and to allow for the sail to rotate. Each sail manufacturer is a little bit different, so you kind of have to become familiar with whatever sail you're on. But basically what you're looking for is the right depth distribution, and perhaps a better indicator is just how well the sail is actually rotating on the mast. So you don't want something that after a jibe you're really struggling to pop the cambers over. If this is happening, then you have to release the pressure on the cams, which is different for every sail manufacturer. But keep in mind, it's a little bit similar like the battens in that you want a little bit more pressure on the bottom cambers and a little bit less on the top cambers. All right, when you rig your sail, probably a good place to start in terms of the boom height is around your chin, your nose level. That's what I would recommend just as a starting point. Just put it right around your chin when you're standing on top of the board, and then go out on the water. Basically, what you should feel is the board is perhaps wetting out too much, meaning that the nose of the board is hitting the water too much, or that the board is too free, so the nose is lifting out of the water and you're losing a little bit of control. For free riding or racing, what you want is to be able to have a good solid trim of the board. You want it to be really stable through the water. You want it to basically keep the same angle through the water. You know, if you're going along and the nose keeps wetting out, that means you need to lift more of the board out of the water. And one of the ways you can control this is by raising your boom height then. So then you want to just lift it up a little bit and go up by 1 or 2 centimeters at a time. Until you find the place that the board is trimming out at a constant angle. So you're not wetting out too much, or you're not lifting up too much. Obviously, if you go out there and the nose is just constantly coming out of the water as you hit a piece of chop or as a gust comes, then what you want to do is lower your boom a little bit. And again, just 1 or 2 centimeters at a time, and this will help you keep that constant trim on the board. So these were the basic trimming tips for the sail. We're taking into consideration 3 different elements: the downhaul, the outhaul, and the batten tension. It's important to note that there's not one setting that works for everybody, for every board, for every wind condition, every height, weight, etc. So the fun thing about windsurfing also is it gives you so much to play with. You need to go out there, try putting on half a cm more downhaul, 1 cm more downhaul, play with your outhaul, experiment a little bit with the batten tension, and you'll really be able to optimize not only for your size and weight and the bore you're using, but also for any given wind condition. So this is all part of the fun of windsurfing, but most of all, just try to trim it right, and you'll get the most enjoyment out on the water.